Okay. Or is this fine? Hope you can see what I have written there. Okay. So let's start with. If anyone have any suggestion, let me know. Like, is there a way to make it full screen? Okay. Okay. So let's go with this. So the first, I'm straight away getting into the facts. So the first thing, to know your project inside out. So here I have put a hypothesis. So it's actually a live project. So this was one of my academic projects. So generally in our master's program, we have like two projects, and one project that will be something like reinventing something really new, radically new, where there will be less features on marketability and production and those aspects, but mainly the core user research and the core, I would say, like the industrial design part of it. So that will be reflecting in those mini projects kind of thing compared to what is done in bachelors. So here we got a problem. So few of the doctors, so they mentioned that during conducting a surgery, so they use a lot of instruments. And when they autoclave it, when they sterilize this instrument and when they bring this thing to the operation room, during the procedure, it is probable that these instruments can get contaminated due to various factors. And few doctors had a suggestion. It was the major cause of surgical site infection, what I have mentioned it as SSI, and due to which there are effects like prolonged hospital stay, excessive use of antibiotics and all. So these pictures what you see here, these are the instrument tray, and you can see a lot of instruments on top of this. And during the surgery, if it is getting contaminated, then it leads to an infection. So actually the doctor told like you have to design something so that it eliminates the contamination and all. So here what I mean to say, this is just a statement and this is just a hypothesis. So better not to go with that. You do a proper research to find out like whether the hypothesis is valid or not. So that is the first stage. Then this is one common mistake what people do. So underestimating your user. So when you say user, what do you think? In our case, where the doctor who is doing the surgery, which means the surgeon. So is he going to be the user? You don't have to tell me, just think in your mind. Is he going to be the user or will there be someone else? Okay, I hope like you have made an answer in your mind. But here I would like to introduce a new term, or maybe you have already heard about this. It is customer archetype. So it is like, it is not always a single user which will be there. There will be multiple users, in the sense multiple stakeholders. So there will be an end user, there will be a buyer, there will be a decision maker, there will be an influencer and a saboteur. So what I mean to say, here in our case, imagine we are purchasing a toy for a kid. So who will be using the toy, who will be playing with it? It will be probably that kid. But who will be purchasing it? It will be either his auntie or uncle maybe, or some of his friends. And who will be deciding whether to give this toy to the kid? So it will be probably their parents. So here the decision maker is their parent, but the buyer is someone else, like auntie or uncle or someone. But who will be the influencer? Who will be telling this auntie or uncle? Maybe their kids will tell them like this toy is very beautiful. Maybe they will act as an influencer. And who is a saboteur? Saboteur means someone who can like someone who can destroy the business in that sense. Like if there is a desi toy, so there are wooden toys which is coming. Maybe the MNCs or huge companies, they will be acting to reduce the market, or they will be kind of hindering their market. I mean their business. So they can act as a saboteur. So if we design something, we should make it take into consideration what is the stake of each of these customer archetypes in our business, and we should design something which is appealing equally to the user, and we should design something which is having all the desired qualities for each stakeholder, and especially some tactics to so that the saboteurs won't get into your business. Then identify the project requirement. This is something very important, which means like resources means both human resource as well as the materialistic resources, and what will the cost involved. So even for your academic project, all these factors are like something very important, and this is what exactly an industry what looks for. If you have done a project with considering all these factors, then I will surely tell you there is no reason any company can reject you, or even if you are starting something your own in future. Then the third one, I am very quickly going through this. Third one, understanding the critical milestone. So it's never like each day in morning we wake up and just like drinking a coffee or reading some random news in the newspaper. So it is never like how we do a project. Each day it should be planned. Before that day it should be planned. Before the project I mean, if the entire duration of the project is say 1 year, we should plan what will happen in the 367th day, the moment when we get this project or when we are like scheduling the project. So that is something very important. So I will make you familiarized with some of the tools and techniques what we use generally for making out milestones and making a proper timeline and all. Then communication and understanding your team. So how do you generally take a team? When I was doing my bachelor's, I used to get around with my friends and I used to form a team among my friends, because like if they are my friends, they will never say anything bad about my weaknesses, right? We are all like in the same page. But here I would say someone who is extremely bad in technical stuff, someone will be extremely bad in programming something, but he will be extremely good in fabricating something, or he will be extremely good in managing people. So you should have a team who has all these kind of skill sets, often complementary skill sets. So one who is acting like a project lead or the faculty, they should always try to, I would recommend to always try to mix up with people who is having like multiple skills, because after engineering college, not everyone want to be an engineer in their real life. Someone want to be a musician, someone want to do something else in their life, someone want to be a businessman, like that. So if you can identify and if you can work on those specific skills, then it will be interesting for all of us. Then whatever you decide, whatever the milestones are, whatever the plan is, it should be well communicated, and you have to make sure like it has to be understood by each and every member in your team. And whatever the academic framework is, whatever the constraints of your universities, we should be able to fulfill that, no doubt about. So then the last and second last and the most important one, that is risk analysis. This is something which we generally miss out in our academic project or in general in any poorly managed project, that is risk analysis. So we may start with something and we may end up in something unexpected, and we will see like बारिश आ गया, नहीं तो क्या बोलेगा, कोरोना आ गया, इसके लिए project रुक गया. So the fact is like we should understand the strength of the team, we should understand what our opportunities are available, we should understand what are the threats which are there, we should understand the global scenario, how it is going to be by the time the project ends, how it is going to be by the time the product hits the market. So there should be a better understanding for that. Since we are focusing on medical product here, for the people from Mumbai, so currently I work on a medical project and I am going to take that forward as a startup. So this ISO 14971 is a standard. I urge everyone to note it down. So this is an international standard which speaks exclusively about what are the risks which we have to consider while doing a medical project, exclusively a medical project. So there are different techniques for understanding the risk. So one method is like FMEA. So that is failure mode analysis. Okay, now I am a little confused whether it's FMEA or something else, but generally it is like failure mode analysis. That is what we call. So I will show you an example. So I am not sure whether it's FMEA or something else the abbreviation is, but it is failure mode analysis. So it is like if you design a product, we will identify in which all areas it can fail, and we will put on certain control measures and we try to mitigate it. So I will show you a live example of that. Then another one is SWOT analysis. So this is something like we understand what is strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. So this is more to do with the business management or within the organization. So it won't be that much applicable to your academic project. The failure mode analysis will be more applicable to your academic project. Then the another one is the pestle analysis. So this is something like we consider risks which can happen in various sections like economic, social, legal, technological, environmental, political, and so on. So which means like here I will tell you an example. If there is any hartal or any bandh happening, so that will come under the social section. So which means like if you design a product, you should design something like what if the corona outbreak happens and your college is in a contaminated zone, you won't be able to get access to anything. So we should have a plan B. Maybe you can outsource that that specific task you need to do